The ambushed Kate Morgan crouched behind a rock formation on Proxima B's barren surface. The air was thin but breathable. The three moons hung in the purple sky, casting eerie shadows across the rocky terrain. She adjusted her tactical gear and checked her weapon for the 5th time in 20 minutes. "All clear on the eastern approach," whispered Ben Miller through her earpiece. Ben was her second in command, a steady and reliable soldier who had served with her for 3 years. "Western perimeter secure," reported Lisa Doyle from her position. Lisa was their communications specialist, usually quiet, but deadly accurate, with a rifle. "Nothing on scanners," added Alan Patel, their tech expert. "But something feels off about this place." Kate nodded to herself. She felt it too, an unnatural stillness. Their mission was straightforward: scout the moon's surface for signs of intelligent life after unusual energy readings were detected from Earth's observatories. They were just supposed to look around and report back. "Stay sharp," Kate ordered. "We'll complete our sweep and head back to the lander in 30 minutes. The team moved forward carefully, crossing the jagged landscape. Kate stopped suddenly, holding up her fist, the signal to freeze. A faint shimmer in the air caught her attention, like heat rising from hot asphalt. "Alan, what are you picking up?" she whispered. Alan frowned at his scanner. "Nothing. Equipment's working fine, but..." "Wait." His eyes widened. "Energy spike. Massive energy spike." The air rippled, and suddenly they weren't alone. Tall armored figures materialized around them, at least 20 of them. The aliens stood 7 feet tall with gray-green skin and 4 arms, each holding an advanced weapon. Their faces were flat with vertical slits for noses and glowing yellow eyes. "Defensive positions," Kate shouted, diving behind a boulder as energy blasts shattered the ground where she had stood. The team reacted instantly, returning fire. But they were outnumbered and surrounded. The aliens, the Vorzak as they would later learn, moved with frightening precision. "They're flanking us," Ben yelled, firing controlled bursts from his position. Lisa screamed as an energy blast caught her in the shoulder, spinning her around. Kate fired 3 shots, dropping the alien that hit Lisa, then rushed to drag her teammate behind cover. "How bad?" Kate asked, checking the wound. "I'll live," Lisa grimaced, raising her weapon with her good arm. Alan's voice came through in panic. "They're jamming our signal to the ship." Kate saw more Vorzak appearing from hidden positions. This wasn't a chance encounter, it was an ambush. They had been waiting. "Fall back to the lander," Kate ordered. "Cover positions, leapfrog pattern." As Ben moved to the first position, a blast hit him squarely in the chest. He fell without a sound. "Ben!" Kate screamed, but there was no response. Alan was next, caught by multiple shots as he tried to reach Ben's body. Within seconds, Kate and the wounded Lisa were the only ones left. "We're not going to make it," Lisa said, her face pale from blood loss. "Yes, we are," Kate insisted, though she knew it was a lie. They made a desperate rush toward a narrow ravine that might provide cover. They had covered half the distance when the ground around them erupted. The Vorzak had placed mines. The blast threw Kate 20 feet, slamming her against rock. Through blurry vision, she saw Lisa's body twisted and still. Kate tried to move but couldn't feel her legs. Blood soaked through her uniform. The Vorzak approached cautiously, weapons trained, on her. The leader made a clicking sound to the others and they turned away. They were leaving her to die. As consciousness faded, Kate saw new shapes approaching. Smaller, slender figures moving silently across the rocks. Not Vorzak. Something else. Then, darkness took her. Kate's eyes fluttered open to soft blue light. Pain radiated through her body, but it felt distant, muted. A transparent dome curved above her. She tried to move her arm and was surprised when it responded smoothly. "The human awakens," said a musical voice. Kate turned her head. A slender creature stood beside her bed. It had silvery skin that shimmered like water and large almond-shaped eyes that blinked vertically. 4 long fingers reached toward her. "Where am I?" Kate asked, her voice rough from disuse. "Safe, in our sanctuary beneath the surface." The alien tilted its head. "I am Lyra. My people are called Nixians." Memories flooded back, the ambush, her team, the blood. Kate tried to sit up. My team, gone. We could only save you. Lyra's voice held genuine sadness. You were barely alive when we found you. Kate looked down at her body. Strange metallic lines ran beneath her skin like shimmering veins. What did you do to me? We healed you. Our biotechnology now supports your damaged systems. Lyra touched Kate's arm gently. You have been in healing sleep for 3 lunar cycles. 3 months, Kate whispered. Yes, the damage was extensive. Your spine was severed, internal organs ruptured, brain swelling. Lyra pointed to the metallic lines. These additions regulate your functions and enhance healing. Kate flexed her fingers, then her toes. Everything worked, but something felt different, stronger, more responsive. Can I stand? Lyra helped her swing her legs over the edge of the bed. Kate stood cautiously, expecting weakness after months of inactivity. Instead, she felt powerful, balanced. The enhancements improve muscle efficiency, Lyra explained. You will find many changes as you recover. The aliens who attacked us, who are they? Lyra's expression darkened. The Vorzak, conquerors. They have destroyed many civilizations. We survive only by hiding underground. A tall Nixian entered the room, his movements formal and measured. I am Soran, elder of this sanctuary. You are welcome here, Kate Morgan. How do you know my name? We recovered your identification. We also have been monitoring Vorzak communications. Soren gestured to a nearby screen that displayed unfamiliar symbols. They celebrate their victory over your exploration team. They plan a great festival in 50 days to mark the beginning of their campaign against your world. Kate felt cold fury building inside her. They think they've won. They believe all humans in this system are eliminated, Saran confirmed. Kate walked to a reflective surface and examined herself. The woman looking back had her face but seemed harder, more defined. The metallic lines under her skin pulsed with her heartbeat. What else can these enhancements do? Lyra exchanged glances with Soren. They increase strength, speed, healing. Your senses are sharper. Your reaction time is improved. Can I fight with them? Soren stepped closer. These gifts were meant for healing, not warfare. My people don't know what's coming. I need to warn them, and stop the Vorzak if I can. One against many is suicide, Soren warned. Kate turned from her reflection, determination hardening her features. Then teach me how to use what you've given me. I'm not asking to fight your war. This is my fight. Lyra touched a control panel, and a holographic display appeared showing Vorzak ships and bases. We have information that might help, she said quietly. Training areas below, resources we've salvaged. Kate nodded, thoughts of Ben, Lisa, and Alan filling her mind. 50 days until their celebration, she said. 50 days to prepare, she clenched her fist, watching the metallic lines respond to her emotion, glowing brighter. They think they killed me. They'll learn their mistake. Kate stood in the Nixian training chamber, her body glistening with sweat. For 2 weeks she had pushed her enhanced body to its limits. Now she could leap 15 feet in the air and run faster than any human athlete. Her reflexes had become so sharp she could catch projectiles mid-flight. Your progress is remarkable, Lyra said, ending the training session. Kate nodded, breathing evenly despite the intense workout. But I need more than just physical ability to strike back. I need resources, weapons, and allies. Lyra hesitated. Most Nixians are peaceful. Fighting the Vorzak seems hopeless to them. I understand, but there must be some who would help. Later that day, Soran introduced Kate to a small group of Nixians who had lost families to Vorzak raids. Among them was Krell, a weapons specialist with cloudy eyes and burn scars across his face. I will join your mission, Krell said simply. The Vorzak took my mate and children. I have nothing left to lose. Zara, a slender female with unusual, red markings, stepped forward. I was an explorer before the Vorzak came. I know the terrain and hidden pathways across this region. By day's end, Kate had assembled a team of 5 Nixians, each with their own reasons to fight. It's a start, she told Lyra that evening. But we need equipment, weapons. Zara approached them, excitement visible in her luminescent eyes. I have found something useful. Our scouts reported a crash site 30 miles north. It appears to be a human vessel. The next morning, Kate and her small team set out across the barren surface. They traveled through narrow canyons and underground passages to avoid Vorzak patrols. By nightfall, they reached the coordinates. Half buried in rocky soil was a human scout ship. The hull was damaged but largely intact. That's a Navy Ranger class recon vessel, Kate whispered, hope rising in her chest. Similar to our lander but better armed. They approached cautiously. The ship had crashed weeks ago but showed no signs of Vorzak scavenging. Inside, they found no survivors, but the main systems were intact. Kate accessed the emergency communications array. If I can boost the signal and patch into Earth's deep space network, she muttered, working quickly with Krell's assistance. After hours of adjustments, the console hummed to life. Kate input her military clearance codes and sent a tightly focused beam transmission toward Earth. The response came faster than expected. A woman's face appeared on screen, her expression shifting from professional detachment to shock. This is Fleet Commander Olivia Ward. Lieutenant Morgan, that's impossible. You were confirmed KIA 3 months ago. Reports of my death were premature, Commander, Kate replied. I survived with help from local allies. The Vorzak are planning a full-scale invasion of our space. Ward's expression hardened. We detected their fleet movements. The diplomatic corps wants peaceful contact, but after your team disappeared, military command has been preparing for the worst. Can you send reinforcements? Ward shook her head. Impossible right now. We're in defensive posture until the politicians decide what to do. What's your situation? Kate explained briefly about the Nixians, her enhancements, and the Vorzak celebration. I plan to strike before they launch their campaign, hit their leadership, disrupt their plans. Ward looked concerned. That's a suicide mission, Lieutenant? Maybe. But I can provide critical intelligence on their capabilities and weaknesses. After a long pause, Ward nodded. I can't officially sanction this, but I can provide remote support. Intelligence, satellite data when available. That's all I ask. Commander, what do you need? Kate glanced at the ship around her. Permission to salvage this vessel, and any information you have on Vorzak leadership. Granted. And Morgan. Ward leaned closer to the screen. Good hunting. The transmission ended. Kate turned to her Nixian allies. Let's get to work. We have a ship to repair and a plan to make. Kate piloted the repaired scout ship through the asteroid belt that marked the border of Vorzak space. The ship's stealth systems were active, bending light around the hull to make it nearly invisible. In the co-pilot seat, Zara monitored their sensors. 2 Vorzak patrol ships ahead, Zara warned. 3,000 meters in closing. Kate adjusted their course, guiding the ship behind a larger asteroid. Krell, are the modifications holding? From the engine room, Krell's voice came through the comm system. The Nixian dampening field is masking our engine signature, but it won't last forever. Power reserves at 60%. They waited in tense silence as the patrol ships passed by. Kate had spent the last 2 weeks training her team and preparing the ship. The Nixians had integrated their technology with the human systems, creating something unique, like Kate herself. Clear, Zara announced as the patrol ships moved away. Kate eased the ship out from cover and continued deeper into enemy territory. The plan was simple but dangerous. Gather intelligence on Vorzak defenses, locate their leadership, and strike before the celebration. Hours later, they reached their first target, a small Vorzak outpost orbiting a desolate moon. The facility served as a communications relay for the entire sector. Time to see what we're really up against, Kate said, activating her neural link with the ship. The Nixian enhancements in her body connected directly with the hybrid controls, giving her unprecedented precision. They landed silently on the dark side of the moon, 2 miles from the facility. Kate suited up in armor they had salvaged from the ship and enhanced with Nixian technology. I'll go alone, she told her team. Less chance of detection. Ren, the youngest of the Nixians, handed her a small device. This will copy their data systems. Just place it near a terminal. Kate nodded and exited through the airlock. Her enhanced vision adjusted instantly to the darkness as she moved across the lunar surface in long, low-gravity bounds. The Vorzak facility loomed ahead, a collection of angular structures with pulsing lights. She approached from the blind spot they had identified in the facility's sensor grid. A maintenance hatch provided her entry point. Inside, she moved silently through dimly lit corridors, her body's new abilities allowing her to detect approaching Vorzak by their heat signatures. 2 guards rounded a corner ahead. Kate pressed herself into a shadow, holding her breath. The Vorzak were even more intimidating up close, 7 feet tall with 4 arms and weapons that seemed fused to their armor. They passed without noticing her. Kate continued to the central communications hub. Inside, 3 Vorzak technicians monitored banks of equipment. She waited for her moment, then tossed a small device Krell had built. It emitted a high-frequency pulse that disoriented the Vorzak long enough for Kate to slip in and subdue them with quick, precise strikes. She placed Ren's device on the main terminal and watched as it began extracting data. On the screens above, she saw maps of Vorzak, fleet deployments, far more ships than Earth's intelligence had estimated. They were preparing for a full-scale invasion. Another screen showed images from what appeared to be a high-security facility. Kate zoomed in and felt her blood run cold. 3 Vorzak commanders stood around a holographic display of Earth. "Iwa, names," she whispered, memorizing their details. "General Krell, Admiral Zev, and Supreme Commander Drakath." A sudden alarm blared through the facility. Kate grabbed the data device just as a squad of guards burst in. She threw herself behind a console as energy weapons fired, scorching the wall behind her. "Team, I've been compromised," she said into her communicator. "Extraction point 2, 10 minutes. Kate drew her weapon and fired back, dropping 2 guards. She needed to move fast. As more Vorzak poured in, she spotted a ventilation shaft above. Using her enhanced strength, she leaped upward, tore open the grate, and pulled herself inside just as blast fire erupted below her. The mission had just become much more complicated. Kate studied the holographic display in the scout ship's planning room. The data she had stolen from the Vorzak outpost revealed crucial information about their command structure. One name kept appearing in the reports: General Krall, the ground force commander who had led the ambush on her team. "He's the most accessible target," Kate said, pointing to an isolated structure on the display. "Every 7 days, Krall visits this remote temple for what their records call purification rituals. He goes with minimal security." Krell examined the building schematics. The temple sits on a mountain ridge. Difficult approach, but many shadows to hide in. "Their overconfidence works in our favor," Kate said. "They don't expect resistance here in their own territory." For 3 days, Kate prepared meticulously. The team modified her armor with additional Nixian technology to mask her life signs. Zara used her knowledge of local terrain to plan the approach route. Ren created specialized ammunition that would penetrate Vorzak armor. The night before the mission, Lyra approached Kate as she checked her equipment. "Your body has fully integrated our enhancements," Lyra said, "but there is something you should know. The changes are becoming permanent. Your human DNA is merging with the Nixian elements." Kate paused. "What does that mean for me?" "You are becoming something new, neither fully human nor Nixian." Lyra placed a hand on Kate's arm. "Your physical capabilities will continue to improve, but you may find yourself changing in other ways." Kate nodded slowly. "I made my choice when I decided to fight back. There's no turning back now." The next day, Kate approached the temple alone. The structure rose from the mountainside like a twisted spire, its dark metal surface absorbing the light from the 3 moons overhead. She moved from shadow to shadow, her enhanced vision allowing her to spot the 2 guards at the entrance. Kate waited until they completed their patrol circuit, then struck silently. The first guard never saw her coming. The second barely had time to reach for his weapon before Kate's enhanced strength overwhelmed him. Inside, The temple was lit by strange blue flames that cast eerie shadows on the walls. Kate's implants detected 5 more life signs, 4 guards and 1 stronger signature that had to be Krell. She moved deeper into the temple, avoiding the main chambers. She found Krell in a circular room, kneeling before an altar. He was larger than the other Vorzak she had seen, with ceremonial markings carved into his armor. 2 guards stood at the entrance, while 2 more patrolled the perimeter. Kate took a deep breath and activated the final enhancement Krell had added to her suit, a short-duration cloaking field. Her body shimmered and faded from view. The guards never stood a chance. In 20 seconds, all 4 were unconscious. Kate disabled the cloaking field and stepped into the circular room. General Krall turned slowly, his yellow eyes widening at the sight of her. "Impossible," he said in a guttural voice. "You died with the others." "I got better," Kate replied, raising her weapon. Krall moved with surprising speed, drawing a ceremonial blade that hummed with energy. He lunged at Kate, but her enhanced reflexes allowed her to sidestep easily. "You were there?" she said, circling him. "You gave the order to ambush my team. Humans are weak," Krall snarled. "Your deaths were necessary to show our dominance." Kate felt cold fury building inside her. The metallic lines under her skin began to glow blue as her anger intensified. She launched herself at Krall, moving faster than any normal human could. P.O. Battle was brutal but brief. Despite his size and strength, Krall couldn't match Kate's enhanced abilities. She dodged his attacks and struck with precision, targeting weak points in his armor. Finally, Krall collapsed, green blood seeping from his wounds. "Who? What are you?" he gasped. Kate leaned close. "I am what you created when you left me for dead. Tell me about the other commanders before you join my team in death." As Krall spoke his final words, Kate placed a small device on his armor, a message for the other Vorzak commanders. "I am the ghost of human vengeance. You are next." The death of General Krall sent shockwaves through the Vorzak command structure. Kate watched the intercepted communications from the safety of the scout ship. The Vorzak leaders were in disarray, pointing fingers and increasing security around their remaining commanders. "They're accelerating their celebration plans," Zara reported, translating the most recent messages. "Admiral Zev has ordered all fleet captains to converge 3 days earlier than scheduled." Kate studied the holographic display of the Vorzak. "Fleet movements. They're scared. Good. Fear makes them predictable." Krell entered the command center, his scarred face tight with concern. "The modifications to the ship are complete, but our power reserves are dropping. We can manage 1 more major stealth insertion at most." Kate nodded. "Then we make it count. Admiral Zev is our next target." Unlike Krell, who preferred isolation, Admiral Zev rarely left his flagship, the Dominance. The massive warship was currently orbiting a gas giant at the edge of the system, overseeing fleet preparations. "This is much riskier than the Temple," Wren warned. "The flagship has over 3,000 Vorzak warriors and the most advanced security systems in their fleet." "Which is why they won't expect an attack," Kate replied. She pointed to a section of the ship schematics they had stolen. "This maintenance dock receives supply vessels daily. We can modify our ship's transponder to match their codes." The plan took 4 days to prepare. Lyra worked tirelessly to enhance Kate's implants for the mission. "Your body's integration with our technology continues to advance," Lyra said as she made final adjustments. "You can now interface directly with Vorzak systems, but only for short periods. The mental strain could be dangerous." "Worth the risk," Kate said firmly. When the day came, Kate felt an unusual calm. Her team had programmed the scout ship to mimic a Vorzak supply vessel. Krell had modified the cargo bay to conceal Kate until they docked. "If something goes wrong, don't wait for me," Kate told them as she climbed into the hidden compartment. "Get the ship to safety and continue the mission." The approach to the Dominance was tense but uneventful. The massive flagship loomed in the view screen, bristling with weapons. When the docking request came through, Zara transmitted the stolen codes. There was a painful pause before the response came. "Supply vessel identified. Proceed to docking bay 7. Inside the cramped compartment, Kate felt the ship shudder as it entered the massive hangar. Vorzak docking clamps engaged with a metallic thunk. Through her neural link with the ship's systems, she could sense dozens of Vorzak moving around outside. Inspection team approaching. Wren whispered through the comm. Standard procedure. Kate activated her suit's stealth systems. When the cargo bay opened and Vorzak inspectors entered, she slipped past them undetected. The flagship's corridors were crowded with crew members rushing to prepare for the upcoming celebration. Using the stolen schematics, Kate navigated toward the command deck. Twice she had to flatten herself against walls as security patrols passed. Her implants warned of scanning fields ahead, designed to detect unauthorized life forms. Kate pressed her palm against a data access point and activated her neural interface. Pain shot through her skull as her mind linked with the Vorzak system. She fought through the discomfort, temporarily disabling the security field before continuing forward. The command deck was protected by elite guards with specialized sensor equipment. Kate couldn't risk a direct approach. Instead, she found an access shaft that led to the Admiral's private quarters. As she emerged into Zev's chambers, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the ship. Intruder alert! All sections on lockdown. They had discovered the infiltration sooner than expected. Kate had minutes at most before the room would be swarming with guards. The door slid open, and Admiral Zev stepped in, flanked by 4 bodyguards. The Admiral was taller than Kral had been, with cybernetic enhancements visible along his face and arms. Kate dropped from the ceiling, landing directly in front of them. Before the guards could react, she had disabled 2 with precise strikes to vulnerable points in their armor. The dead human, Zev growled, backing away as his remaining guards engaged her. Kate moved like lightning, her enhanced body flowing through the combat with inhuman grace. Within seconds, all 4 guards lay unconscious. Admiral Zev reached for a weapon, but Kate was faster. She pinned him against the wall, her strength easily overpowering his struggle. Before you die, she said coldly, you're going to send a message to your entire fleet. Kate huddled with her team around the communications display in their hidden base beneath the Nixian sanctuary. The stolen Vorzak data scrolled across the screen, revealing the final pieces of their enemy's plan. Supreme Commander Drakath has moved up the celebration to tomorrow, Zara said, her silver fingers tracing the alien text. Your elimination of Admiral Zev created even more panic than we anticipated. Kate nodded grimly. Forcing Zev to broadcast that warning message to the fleet worked better than I hoped. Now Drakath is centralizing all operations to maintain control. The message she had forced Zev to send still echoed in her mind. Beware the human ghost. She walks among us unseen. No one is safe. The Admiral's subsequent death had sent ripples of fear throughout the Vorzak hierarchy. Krell zoomed in on a section of the plans. There's something else. Look at this manifest for the celebration. Kate leaned closer, her enhanced vision focusing on the details. Prisoners, for public execution. Her blood ran cold as she read further. Human prisoners. Impossible, Wren said. Your team was the only human presence in this system. Not anymore, Kate replied. They must have captured a rescue mission or another scout team. She studied the prisoner manifest more carefully, and her heart nearly stopped. Major Sam Bell? That's my commanding officer. He was supposed to be dead, killed in the initial ambush. Lyra placed a gentle hand on Kate's shoulder. This changes your mission parameters. Kate paced the room, her mind racing. Drakath will be on the Vorzak homeworld for the celebration. Maximum security, but also maximum opportunity. We need to split our focus, eliminate Drakath, and rescue the prisoners. The team spent the night preparing. Their resources were limited, but determination drove them forward. Kate's body had continued to evolve with the Nixian enhancements. The metallic lines under her skin now formed complex patterns that responded to her emotions, glowing brighter with increased stress or exertion. Your transformation is accelerating, Lyra observed as she helped Kate into her modified combat suit. The neural pathways have fully integrated. You can now access Vorzak systems with much less strain. Will I still be human when this is over? Kate asked quietly. Lyra's large eyes blinked slowly. You will be something more. A bridge between two species. The plan they developed was dangerous and complex. The scout ship would approach the Vorzak homeworld disguised as a supply vessel, using the authorization codes they had forced from Admiral Zev before his death. Krell and Ren would create a diversion in the spaceport, while Zara would guide the rescued prisoners back to the ship. Kate would hunt down Drakath alone. They arrived at the Vorzak homeworld under the cover of a massive fleet movement. The planet was a dark, industrial sphere with massive cities and military installations covering much of its surface. Security was tight but focused primarily on orbital approaches. Remember, we only have one shot at this, Kate told her team as they prepared to land. If anything goes wrong, get the prisoners out and leave me behind. Krell gripped her arm firmly. We leave no one behind, not anymore. The landing proceeded smoothly, their stolen codes granting them access to a secondary spaceport away from the main celebration area. As they disembarked, Kate felt a strange sensation, a pull toward a distant section of the sprawling city. The prisoners are being held in the central arena, Zara said, checking her scanner. 15 miles from our position. Kate nodded. And Drakath will be at the governmental palace preparing for his speech. She activated her suit's stealth systems. Stay on schedule. I'll meet you at the extraction point. As she moved through the crowded Vorzak city, Kate was struck by the scale of their civilization. Massive structures rose into the dark sky, connected by transport tubes and flying vehicles. The streets were filled with Vorzak civilians and military personnel hurrying toward the celebration. Kate followed the strange pulling sensation, moving deeper into the city. Something was guiding her, some connection she couldn't explain. She realized with sudden clarity it was Major Bell. The Nixian enhancements had somehow formed a link with another human presence. She changed course, following this new instinct. The prisoners weren't in the central arena as the plans had indicated. They had been moved. The Vorzak were keeping secrets even from their own military. The real location was a heavily guarded compound near Drakath's palace. As Kate approached, she saw why. The prisoners weren't just captives, they were bait in a trap. A trap meant for her. Kate crouched on a ledge overlooking the compound. Her enhanced vision pierced the darkness, revealing guards positioned at every entrance. The trap was well designed. They had anticipated she would come for the prisoners. Change of plans, she whispered into her communicator. Prisoners aren't at the arena. They're being held near Drakath's palace as bait. Should we abort? Zara's voice came through with static interference. No. Proceed with the diversion. I'll handle both objectives. Kate studied the compound layout. The prisoners were kept in an underground chamber, visible through her thermal imaging as warm bodies surrounded by cold walls. Above them, in the palace's central tower, a large heat signature matched Drakath's species profile. She waited until a patrol passed, then moved silently along the compound's outer wall. Her body felt different now, lighter, more fluid. The Nixian enhancements had progressed further, allowing her to partly blend with shadows naturally. An alarm suddenly blared across the city. Krell and Ren had triggered the diversion. A series of explosions at a military fuel depot opposite the city. Guards rushed toward the disturbance, leaving gaps in the compound's defenses. Kate slipped through an unguarded maintenance entrance. Inside, she moved quickly through service corridors, avoiding the remaining guards. The prison level was 3 floors below ground, accessible only by guarded elevators and a single emergency stairwell. She chose the stairs, descending rapidly. 2 guards at the bottom level never saw her coming. She subdued them quietly and took their security cards. The prison chamber door opened with a soft hiss. Inside, 6 humans in tattered uniforms looked up in shock. Major Sam Bell stood at the front, his face gaunt, but his eyes still showing the determination Kate remembered. Lieutenant Morgan, he whispered in disbelief. They told us you were dead. Not quite, sir, Kate replied, moving to unlock their restraints. Extraction team is waiting. We need to move fast. As the prisoners prepared to follow her, Belle gripped her arm, staring at the metallic patterns visible beneath her skin. "What happened to you?" "Long story, sir. I'll explain once we're safe." They moved quickly back to the stairwell. Kate led them toward a secondary exit she had identified during her approach. The diversion was still drawing attention, but it wouldn't last much longer. "The ship is half a mile east," Kate said, distributing weapons she had taken from the guards. "Zara, we'll meet you there. I have one more task to complete." Bell shook his head. "We stick together, Lieutenant." "Not this time, sir. Supreme Commander Drakath is still in the palace. Without him, their entire command structure falls apart." She touched her communicator. "Zara, prisoners are headed your way. Guide them to the extraction point." Before Bell could protest further, Kate turned and headed deeper into the compound. The path to Drakath's chamber would be heavily guarded, but she had one advantage. They wouldn't expect an attack during their own trap. She climbed rapidly through maintenance shafts, her enhanced strength making the ascent effortless. Security increased with each level, but Kate moved like a shadow, disabling sensors and avoiding patrols. Finally, she reached the uppermost level, Drakath's private quarters. 2 elite guards stood outside massive ornate doors. Kate couldn't avoid them. She stepped into the open, her weapon raised. "The human ghost," one guard growled, raising his alarm comm. Kate moved faster than human eyes could follow, crossing the distance before either guard could react. The fight was brief and silent. The doors slid open. Supreme Commander Drakath stood by a large viewport overlooking the city. He was larger than other Vorzak, with elaborate armor and cybernetic enhancements covering half his face. "I've been expecting you," he said without turning. "The trap was meant to capture you, not kill you. Your adaptations are fascinating." Kate aimed her weapon at his back. "You orchestrated the ambush on my team. Why?" Drakath turned slowly. "War requires pretexts. Your team's destruction provided the justification for our campaign against Earth." His forearms spread wide. "Nothing personal, simply necessary. 3,000 people on Earth will die for every member of my team you killed," Kate said coldly. "Yes, that was the plan." Drakath's yellow eyes narrowed. "Until you complicated matters." He moved with surprising speed, activating an energy shield as Kate fired. The bolt deflected harmlessly. Drakath countered with a weapon of his own, a pulse gun that fired sonic waves. Kate dodged, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to stay ahead of his attacks. The battle destroyed much of the chamber as they fought across its expanse. Kate's Nixian implants glowed brightly with the exertion, giving her bursts of speed and strength beyond even what she had shown before. Finally, she cornered Drakath. Against the viewport, her weapon pressed against his armor's weak point. "Finish it," he growled. "Prove you're the monster we claimed humans to be." Kate's finger tightened on the trigger, then stopped.